Okay, welcome to a very quick tutorial on how to create an animated GIF file with Photoshop. Now GIFs are a very simple animation with not a lot of frames in them, but they create an illusion of movement. You'll have seen them a lot on the internet, the web. They were actually mostly the main form of animation for many years on the web. They've been superseded a bit, but they're still quite a bit of fun, and there's a lot of stuff you can do with them. So we're going to use a couple of tools in Photoshop that you may never have seen before. And one of them is the Puppet Warp tool, which is a pretty amazing tool. So I've got my images here. I've got the night image I'm going to use, so I've opened that in Photoshop, so I'll just click on that. I've chosen one with a white background, which is really important. Now the first thing I need to do is I need to get rid of this locked layer. So if I go create the layer from the background there, and call it layer 0, okay, that's got rid of the lock. And I'm going to rename that. So click on that, and I'm going to hit night 1, and there's my night. Now I need a background because I'm going to get rid of this in a minute. So in fact I might even get rid of the white background now because I can't have that. So I'm going to use my magic wand tool. Now remember, if you right click, you might have the quick selection tool up there on your Mac if you haven't used the magic wand. So right click there, and it's the magic wand tool. Okay, now select the layer I want to work on. The layer that I'm working on always needs to be selected, and it's pale blue on my version of Photoshop. If I just click on that, I get the marching ants all the way around there, and I'm just going to hit delete, and there they go. It's all gone. The background is gone. We've just got well, it's nothing. It's just the pattern there, blank background. Command D on the Mac will get rid of your marching ants. But I do need a background. Now I could put a photo in the background and use that, but I'm not going to at this stage. That's something I'm going to try later on. I've got that photo for them. But I'm just going to create a new layer. So I get into the new layer tool just down here. And I'm going to call it background, so BG. Now, it's on top of my night. I don't want that, so I drag it down and place it underneath my night. There it is. Now, I need a colour on that, so I'm going to use my fill tool. Remember, again, you might have the gradient tool there, so it's underneath the gradient tool, so right-click to find it. I've already got my colour selected as white, and there we go. I've got a white background, so it looks the same. Now, that's my first frame. There's my night. You notice I always go back to the selection tool up here when I'm doing things. So I need to duplicate this layer. So I'm going to right-click and hit duplicate layer, and I'm going to call it night 2, just to make life easier. Now I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to go to Puppet Warp. Now this is a new tool for a lot of people, and it's really cool for doing animation. So you've got a couple of settings up here. You can see the show the mesh tool. We won't worry about that, but some people use that in other areas. But it's just there, just showing you can do that. We've got to place pins, so to stop things from moving. So I'm going to put a pin right here and there. That's basically going to lock that arm into position so I can't move it. Now, I'm going to put a pin in the elbow, I'm going to put a pin in the wrist, and I'm going to put a pin at the top of the sword. Now, have a look what happens when I move the top of this pin at the top of the sword. We get a bit of movement. A bit of flex, but that's okay. Now I'm going to hit apply. So that's the second layer, and you can see already, if I do this, we're creating a very simple movement. I'm going to create another one, so I'll go to that layer there, because I want to be able to see where I've been. So leaving those layers up is really handy. Duplicate the layer. I'm going to call it night 3. And again, Puppet Warp, edit, Puppet Warp. And now I've got to pin him again. If I pin that there, it stops the night from moving. And I'll show you what happens when I don't pin it there in a minute. And up there. So I've got those 4 pins. Curving sword there, that's cool, I don't mind that. Apply. So there's 3. Now this time, I'm going to duplicate my layer. I'm calling night 4. Now I'll just show you what happens if I didn't pin it the same way. So edit, Puppet Warp. I'll just put one pin there, and a pin here. What happens if I move it? See, the whole night moves a bit. We don't want that to happen. And you see I can do quite a bit with his arm there, but I don't want that to happen, so I'm not going to apply that, so don't apply. I want to lock the knight in position, so I'll go to Edit, Puppet Warp. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put this one on the wrist. I'm not going to pin right at the top because I don't want that one to move. I'm going to move it quite a bit this time. And I like that, apply. So if I turn these off, so you can't see it, you can see the movement happening there. And I've allowed that bit of a curve on the sword because it's like it's moving really fast. Okay, that's all I'm going to do at this stage. That gives us a basic idea. So right now I'm just going to turn off everything but the first layer. I'm going to go to Window and Animation. Now, when you first come here, it might look like that. We don't want that file, so we go to this little tool down the bottom here because we want the animation timeline. And there's our first frame of our animation. Now, we don't want it to run for 10 seconds. That's a bit too long. So we need it to be 0.1 seconds. And we need now to create a new frame. So 0.1, oh, we want our animation to loop forever. We don't want it just to run once or twice. So I'm going to go to a new frame. So there's my new frame. Now, if I turn on the second knight, turn off the first one, I've got new movements. Let's have a look. But he's waggling his sword. Just keep repeating that. So new frame. I'm going to turn off that one. Turn on the third one. I won't keep going yet. New frame. Turn on the fourth. Turn off that. So I've got 4 frames. Let's have a look at it. Okay, I could put a 5th frame by repeating. I could actually repeat one of these knights so that movement from there back isn't quite so sharp, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. You can play around with that at a later date. Okay, I've now created an animation. So how do I get it to work? So I can just play it here, we've got it there, but I need to get it out as a GIF file. GIF file, sorry, let's get it right. So I'm going to go Edit, File, no, it is Edit. File, Save for Web and Devices. So I click that. Now, loading it up. I'm going to set the size so it's not quite so big, so I'm going to make it 500 pixels wide, 714. It's a GIF file. I can play it to have a quick look at it. If I make it smaller here so I can see it. There we go. And I can play it to make sure it's working. Excellent. So I've set my size. 500 pixels is not too bad. It does show you the size of the image. See, it's 193K there. You don't want it too big. GIFs are generally quite small. And basically, save. Give it a name. I'm just going to call it Night GIF or Night. Let me get that right. Just call it Night GIF, and choose where to save it. I'm going to save it to my desktop at this stage, and I'll put it in the other file, and I'm going to hit save. So with a bit of luck, if I just minimise Photoshop, get it out of my way, I should be able to see my Night GIF. Look, there it is there. If I right-click on Night GIF, I go Open With, and I'll choose a web browser. I'll just choose Firefox because it's been working properly. And there's my GIF playing, ready to roll. So, I'd like you to have a go at doing that and see what you can come up with. You can do all different layers and experiment. Use the web for further instructions. Google things, YouTube, and you'll be able to have a lot of fun with this one. Okay, thanks very much.